This podcast is supported in part by our patrons. If you feel you get some value from our shows, please consider giving some value back at patreon.com/Psychon. Thank you.
Welcome to Retrograde Podcast, episode number 65, where today we're going to be talking about Comix Zone. With me, as always, are my Caped Crusaders. First up, we have our very own Lois Lane, Anthony Hobday.
Hello.
The lady who I wouldn't want to run into on a dark night, Suzanne Fisher.
Thanks.
And Dr. Strange Feeling in My Pants, James McFadden.
Wait, is there a comma there?
Nope. And I'm the man who gives Superman an inferiority complex. Chan Marshall, if I could pronounce it, I would.
Is that with your amazing verbose skills? Damn it, it's catchy.
Enunciation and pronunciation.
That's ironic.
I know.
Well, here we are again. Another show, 65, big one.
Jack just said enunciation and pronunciation. Completely unironically.
Pronunciation. Yeah, what's been going on? What's the hip hop? What's down? Give me the 911. Nothing's happened.
It's been a week.
Neil and I have been to see a lot of films recently.
Interstellar?
Oh, me too.
Nobody
is talking about Interstellar.
We can save Interstellar.
I saw
Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Well, don't
I've
say
seen
anything
it.
Do you
about
want
it.
to? You want to know what happens, though?
What I have seen, and I know you've seen this because you posted it on Facebook, was The Imitation Game,
Yes.
and it was good.
It
Wasn't
was amazing.
I thought they
Yeah.
were going to fall into that trap of having the sort of the national hero biopic. Yeah, he's so great, and then completely gloss over all the terrible stuff.
That happened
was,
afterwards.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
government
no,
did
they
too.
dealt with it really, really well, actually.
Yeah, it was quite tasty.
Benedict Cumberland Patch in there,
Cumberland
right? Was he
Pants,
alright?
yep.
Yeah, he was actually really
Cucumber
good.
Patch, was he
Good
alright?
That's the
actor.
censored version of the nickname I had for him.
It's Benedict Cumberbatch. It's Benedict
Come on,
Cumberbatch.
come on.
Right.
Benedict Cumberbatch. How was it any good?
Yes, he was.
Cool.
He was amazing.
Have you seen the lineup for True Detective Season 2?
Hang on, wait, I haven't
Wait,
finished
no,
the
this is what? I did not know it had been released.
So
it's,
what, True Detective, did you
Owen
say?
Wilson, Vince Vaughn. No, it's already. It is.
Is this for
good
True
lord.
Detective?
Yeah, that's what I
Right.
said.
Season 2 is Rachel McAdams, Vince Vaughn, and oh my god, I've forgotten the third person.
Come on.
Oh, okay, you guys carry on.
Oh,
Carry
you've
on talking
ruined it.
about films while I Google.
You've ruined it.
I really... Vince Vaughn, that's
But yeah,
interesting.
Imitation Game, they dealt with it really well. They kind of... obviously, there's 4 parts of the timeline of his life that they focus on. There's stuff that happened to him while he was in... have you seen it?
The film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
that's-
seen it, oh, good.
Why would I bring it
No,
up?
sorry, I was just checking. Obviously, there's the events happen at school, and there's the events during the war, and then there's only 3 things, and then it's obviously what happened in Manchester.
And then there's Alan Turing in the future,
Yes.
after the credits.
Future cheering, yeah.
Yeah, that was the best bit.
Futuring, they call it. Haha.
Do you want to know the person? I've remembered who it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell, Vince Vaughn, and Rachel McAdams make up
Oh,
the
that's gonna be
detectives.
cool.
Rachel
That'd be
McAdams in it,
interesting.
so I'm sold.
Well,
if,
yeah.
if Rachel McAdams in a film, I'll watch it. I even watched that one called like The Family Stone or something. It was terrible. And that Good Morning film, that was awful as
Yeah,
well.
she's done a lot of bad
Morning
rom-coms, but
Morning
oh well.
Wood,
Morning Glory.
Morning Glory. I know it was one of those
Yeah, with
things.
Harrison Ford. Bad Harrison
Liked it though,
Ford.
but it's good. It's all right. I watch if she's in it. I'm in it. And The Vow. That's a good film. Me and Anthony love The Vow.
Oh, I saw The Vow.
Yeah, it was a great one. Which is
I bought it as a joke gift for someone, and then I went back and I watched it myself for real.
it's not a bad film. I didn't
Well,
mind it.
if you like Channing Tatum,
Wait, which one is Rachel McAdams?
It's the one where she loses her
Notebook.
memory.
No, I've never seen that film. Tell me.
she's in About
also
Time.
got she's also got a
About
niche.
Time. Oh, is that her? from
Robert
About Time?
Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes.
She's got like she owns
never
the
saw
market on time traveling
No, I
romance
know who it
films
is now, Anthony.
because she's
Yeah,
in the
she
Time
does.
Traveler's Wife
No,
and
you,
Yeah,
About
you
she
can
does.
Time,
Time
stop.
Traveler's
You
Wife.
can stop.
and the one where she loses her memory.
Jack,
It's
I
all
know-
about
I
her
know who
not
it
knowing
is.
where she is in most of these films.
I know who it is now.
Yeah,
It's-
she's gorgeous.
She's not in the Imitation Game, however,
She's
which
in-
we
No,
were
she
talking
isn't.
about.
I hope she's listening.
she's in Midnight in Paris. That's another time traveling film.
Oh, she plays a bad character in that though, so I don't like
Yeah.
it.
Why are they shooting me down?
What song were you into? Imitation Game?
What was she
I was just trying to have a conversation with James about it.
Yeah,
You've been talking
guys,
about Alan
come
Turing for too
on.
long.
Yeah.
You already got to the credits. What else
Tell
to
me more
discuss?
about
The future bit was the
Imitation
best
Game.
because it showed his ultimate rise to power and the army of gay robots that he built. Gay bots.
That's not quite
Gay bots,
correct.
if you
I don't
will.
need to see this film. It's like iRobot, but with gay robots.
But no, it was brilliant. We saw Fury as well,
wanna
which
see
was
that.
fantastic. Brad Pitt in a tank. It was awesome.
Doesn't have Thank God for Beef in it.
Who?
Thank God for beef.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Thank God for beef.
Yes. Who, I kept ribbing Neil about this, can grow a better tash than Neil.
Oh, man.
So,
If beef
yeah.
can grow a better tash, then you've got to really consider what your place in the universe is.
I know. Well, Neil's good with his beard.
Oh.
His
neck beard.
It's not a neck beard. That was brilliant. Gone Girl, we saw that. That was amazing.
How many
as
films
well.
did you see this week?
We've seen loads. We know.
Is it half term?
No, it's because our quarterly club card vouchers came through.
Oh, right.
So we can go to the cinema for free now.
Let's go
you see.
mental.
We only go to the cinema for free.
I expected-
We don't pay for the cinema.
I expected more from Gone Girl because it's David Fincher and he's one of the best directors out there. But it was kind of, I mean, it was a great film. Don't get me wrong. I just thought it would be greater.
Yeah, in terms of his directing, you can't necessarily tell that it's David Fincher. It's not as obviously him.
It felt like a
as the
faithful
other
adaptation,
movies.
where something like Fight Club was his spin, certainly.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, still a great film.
Yeah, that was amazing. And then we saw Interstellar, which I won't do any spoilers.
Don't tell me what you
anything.
thought. Don't tell me what you thought.
Really?
No, I don't want to know. Nobody spoil this for me because I'm so excited.
Okay.
It's not very good.
I'm,
I haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it either.
I'm jealous of Shia LaBeouf because he's much better than me at going no.
It's true,
when he runs about.
It is true. That was rubbish.
Yeah, he's
And
much better.
thieving creative work.
I think he does do that in this movie.
You're
He does it in every movie, I
You're
think.
better at going mental, though.
In what?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Just-
Anthony
just
does go
generally.
mental sometimes.
Like your breakdowns are better than his.
Yeah. Especially when on film.
Yeah.
We've just been to see loads of
I've done the
movies.
same thing with you instead of films and video games. Went mental. Brought Master Chief, Far Cry 4, Modern Warfare, Advanced Warfare, or whatever it is. And there was a fourth one. I can't even remember what it was that I bought. It's a lot of money. Oh, GTA 5 as well. I just went out. You know why? It's because Sainsbury's were doing a double up on Nectar points. So I just went mental and doubled up.
You're always rinsing Sainsbury's
Club
and
card
Nectar.
for the
Club
cinema
card,
with
yeah.
me. Nectar points with Jack.
I'm all about my
It's like the
bonus
Jets
points.
and the Sharks, but for the modern generation.
I go in. I'll go in and spend like £100 and go, yes, I made £10 in Nectar points.
£10 you like 5 pence.
Yeah, no, it's actually about 3p. But
How are you
every
finding
penny
GTA
counts.
5? GTA 5 on the Xbone.
First person mode. Oh, this is what happened actually. My housemate's watching me, and my housemate Conan said to me, I was just walking down the lane, first mission, there was a cat. And I went, oh, should I kill the cat? And she went, yeah, kick the cat. Kick the cat, it died. And it was actually like, because it was in first person, it was suddenly like, oh, that was really horrible actually.
Why is
and
that your
other
instinct?
cat came over and was like licking it, like, meow. And I was like, oh, I feel really bad now. And it's some reason, like, so I got in a fight with a bunch of guys, and it was like...
By the way, listeners, Jack is acting all of this out as he is telling us this story.
I licked
That's
my
why we're
paw like a
laughing.
cat when it did that. But then, and like, you have a fight with a guy in a first person, and it is generally like, it's not very nice. All of it. Like, I find myself walking on the sidewalk a lot more, on the pavement, as we say here, because it does feel weird to walk in the road because like, there's a bus coming.
Do you jaywalk
it's weird.
ever?
Well, no, I'll look left and right when I'm crossing the road in GTA 5 first person mode.
It
And
looks really good from the stuff I've seen. It looks really
Yeah,
smooth.
and it's bizarrely quite like, ooh. But I'm loving it. But Far Cry 4 is the game I'm playing at the moment.
What blew my mind was that they re-released GTA 5 on the Xbox One, PS4 obviously, and they're coming out on the PC. And like the biggest addition is the first-person mode. But we saw an advert for it at the cinema, and it didn't even show the first-person mode in the advert for the re-release.
They
It
don't
just
need
said,
to.
It just said GTA 5 on Xbox One and PS4, and the entire thing was third-person mode. And so I had no idea
you
why
totally
they were
don't
doing
need
that.
to.
Yeah, but it was more like cinematics, wasn't it? It wasn't like a guy actually driving around in a car. I remember before.
Right, but I mean, you could show it, and then that would get more people more interested. Because if they've already bought it on 360 and they haven't really looked into it much, they might not think there's anything new there.
I don't know. I mean, I brought it.
Yeah, but you knew it had first-person mode.
I guess so, but that wasn't why I bought it. I was, I was generally just like, it was because of double up points and Nectar.
I'm still really impressed that they've basically just re-released a game in under a year and got everyone to buy it again.
It's not a
Genius.
cash grab. It's actually really,
Really?
they've it's the visual fidelity is really, really different. It's much more beautiful. They've added, I think, 100 songs to the radio stations.
Yep.
The first person mode, it's not just a matter of putting the camera like in the face of the protagonist. It's actually they've done like, I think, thousands of new animations and stuff. It's
Really?
they've done a lot of work.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take it back then.
One thing I've also straight away noticed is that it's a lot busier. Like, I was driving around thinking, why is it so much harder to drive around? It's because there's so many more cars around, and it's so much more noisy and pedestrians everywhere. That I haven't gone back and played in the 360, but watching gameplay videos of the 360 version, it feels like the town, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning in comparison. Because like, you're driving around, and there's like a bloody bus there. Oh, God, there's people walking around. It's
Yeah.
it's
How's the
surprisingly
frame rate?
good. Can't complain. Then again, I never do complain about frame rate.
Really? Because I remember I was playing like a 60 frames per second game on the PS4. Then I went back to the PS3 to play some GTA 5, and I couldn't. Like, it's dropping down to like the teens at points. It's ridiculous. Like, it's actually unplayable sometimes.
I haven't noticed anything so far. I'm alright with it. But I'm really crap at stuff like that. Like, some people watch me playing a game and they'll be like, oh, my eyes. And I'll be sitting there going, what's wrong?
They're not talking about the game.
With blood coming out. Any other banter? Who wants to share anything else? Oh, dear.
Oh, I've got something else.
Oh, go on then.
On my way over here on the bus,
Yep.
I watched the full initial teaser trailer for Jurassic World. I shared it just before we came out. Obviously, there's been the teaser 30-second thing, and they're promising the full trailer on Friday, but it's out today, and it looks amazing.
Teasers for trailers, makes me feel kind of weird.
It's the world we live in.
I think they're even doing, like, one day it can be a teaser for a teaser. It's going to be like, oh, teaser's coming out
Teaser for
soon.
a teaser.
Here's a
The thing
teaser.
is, this Jurassic World trailer, this is the teaser trailer. Next year, there'll be a full trailer.
The whole...
We've already got a teaser for a teaser.
Yeah, the whole trailer, I thought it looked alright. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give this a go. I'm not really that bothered. Until the bit where there's literally a whole auditorium of people sitting around a massive lake, and they hang a great white shark
Yeah, that was awesome!
on a rope, and it's like, ooh, and this massive, giant, huge dinosaur jumps out of water and eats it.
Is it big?
And it instantly...
Like SeaWorld.
That has lost my attention now, because I'm like, there is no way... Okay, there's dinosaurs walking around, so that's the first thing that's a bit stupid of me to say, but there is no way in hell you would keep a creature that's like the size of a blue whale with massive teeth. They're like, oh, it's a sideshow attraction. I would not go to that theme park.
Okay, fine. Everyone else will.
Well,
there's people that
let's be
boycott
honest,
SeaWorld. There's people that boycott zoos.
there are people
Jack.
just sitting there watching this big thing, and they're like, nothing dangerous is ever going to happen. Well, clearly it is, because the whole park goes to hell again.
Yeah, but that
When
happens
Jurassic
in
Park-
zoos.
When Jurassic Park was happening, someone like Jack was sitting there going, no, I'm not going there because that's going to go wrong. Bet your money on it. And then he saw the news like a year later. He was like, what did I say? And now he's sworn off dinosaur-themed parks forever. He's like, no, they keep going wrong. They need stronger fences.
It did bother me a little bit that it did look like the storyline was just the fact of, like, we've built Jurassic Park again, and it's all gone wrong. But
They
this
built
time
hybrid
on a
dinosaurs,
massive
though.
scale, and they've got
They're
Chris
like
Pratt.
run
in
on
there.
electricity.
No, so
Electricity.
ironically, they run on petrol, which is the fossilised remains of their ancestors.
We've come full circle.
Yeah, no, they don't. That's not it at all.
Well,
no,
really,
they're hybrid species.
When you think about it, we eat vegetables that were grown in the ground, right? Where do we bury people? In the ground. What do vegetables get from the ground? Minerals. What do people become after they're dead? Minerals.
Cut out the middleman.
Wait, isn't
Just eat
this-
people.
This is a GCSE science thing. You've got the water cycle, where you see how the water goes through the
And
land
the
to the sea.
corpse cycle.
No, it's called a thing.
Pretty sure, yeah.
It is a thing, it's a
it came
proper
up
cycle.
in. It came
It's
up
a
in The
name.
Lion King. I think it's called the Circle of Life.
Whoa.
So, what was
But
I
yeah,
going to say?
Jurassic World looks amazing.
I
Can't
using
wait.
more-
Chris Pratt for the win. I love him.
Are they doing animatronic stuff, or is it all CGI?
There are some robots in there. I've seen the robots.
Good, because
look good.
the Hobbit
You
films...
seen the robots? I thought you wouldn't go.
I would have personally preferred if they've just got the dinosaurs to do it, and that would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
that would've been
But they had to get
It's
robots. in.
expensive though. I thought
Yeah.
they kind of got really gratuitous with CGI in the Hobbit films. Like they were nowhere near as good as the originals, partially because it's like all of it is green screen CGI stuff. So
Friend
I'm
of
glad that
mine-
they're still using some.
A friend of mine watched The Hobbit recently, and he was like, "I don't understand. It looked worse than The
It
Lord
does,
of
it
the Rings.
looks
How
a
is that
lot worse.
possible?" But anyway, the other thing I was
It's the
going to
frame
say,
rate I found.
the
The
big
frame rate was awful.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like.
I thought it was a
60 FPS.
CGI. It just looks cheap compared to a lot of the prosthetic
Because they
stuff.
did it in 60 FPS. If they did
It was like 48 FPS, I think.
Was it?
I think it
was
looks
48.
okay.
Games are 60, aren't they?
I'm
Not these days.
Where
No.
am I getting 60 from?
60 can be common, but
I'm more excited about the fact that the new Star Wars trailer will be released this weekend.
oh, Star Wars.
Oh, I'm dreading Episode 7. I mean, they messed up the prequels so hard.
Where they are different in this case than they were in the prequels case.
Yeah,
Are
but
you
J.J.
kidding?
Abrams
Yeah.
has been losing his
This
touch.
time-
The
J.J.
ending
Abrams sucks.
the ending of Lost, I lost all faith in him.
I'm not sure J.J. Abrams was even involved.
J.J.
in-
Abrams was definitely not involved with Lost after.
He
like,
was the
first-
producer.
Not
yeah,
on the
but he
f-
didn't in name pretty much only. I think
I-
he directed the pilot, and then he wasn't really.
Oh,
Mark
okay.
my words, this Star Wars, these will be fantastic because you've got Walt Disney at the helm. You put Disney on a project.
Well, Disney are amazing.
Disney
that's
will
true.
just even if the film.
No, I think Jack is saying you've got the person Walt Disney.
Wait, they woke him up?
I think Jack
They
believes
take him
that
out
he's
of
still
his
alive.
cryogenic
took his
freezer?
head out of the
That's a
cryogenic
sympathising
freezer.
corpse, ladies and gents.
But yeah,
Sympathising.
they've got them involved, and it's just
The first thing he said
even if
when
the
they woke him up
films- even
was,
if the
"Put
films-
Jar Jar in it." They're like, "Oh,
No, Walt, you crazy.
No, but even if the films suck, they are going to franchise and develop that brand to insane, even further to the
Do you
insane
genuinely
reaches.
care? Like I'm not trying to be snarky when I say I don't understand why people like Star Wars so much.
I would definitely.
The originals
I don't care.
are great. I
I'm
do
sure
like
they
them.
were great, but there have been literally hundreds of much better sci-fi films released
Oh, yeah.
since then.
No, no,
They
but-
haven't.
There have. Totally
there are
have.
not 100
No, no,
good
but-
The thing
sci-fi
is,
films."
Star Wars revolutionised the genre. It brought it to the mainstream.
There are not 100 good sci-fi films in
Starship Troopers.
existence.
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers.
All
I
three of
didn't
them.
like Starship Troopers.
No, you're right though. I'm not too interested in it, but what I am interested about is I love seeing what companies will do with brands, and I was fascinated by what Disney did with Marvel and how they've just turned like DC are like just like what the hell are we going to do? And I love when seeing what companies will do with brands, and I think Disney are one of the best at turning around brands into like this huge thing of like going, okay, what we're going to do is let's make like Guardians of the Galaxy. When you think about it, that was such a weird risk to take.
Yeah.
And yet it's paid off so well that they've just added another massive IP into the Marvel framework.
Well, it kind of proves that like the subject matter doesn't really come into account when you're making a film,
Well, like,
because if
As
the
long
film's,
as
if
you've
the
got
film's
Chris
good,
Pratt,
And
you're
when you-
fine.
if the
when
film's
That's
good,
why
then
Jurassic
it's,
World's
it's
gonna be
good.
great.
Avengers, I've got so much respect for them that they gave Josh Whedon the helm of one of their biggest ever projects. When you think that Josh Whedon really, he was he's a greatly loved director now, but at the time it was an odd choice to pick the guy that did Buffy and Angel and like Firefly. It was like, wow, they're getting
He
Josh
directed
Whedon.
Serenity as well, so he had that experience.
Yeah, but he certainly wasn't. I would have thought they would have, get a big name like Spielberg or something. Whedon was still a big name, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like, wow, okay, they're taking a bit of a punt on Whedon. It paid off handsomely.
Fun fact, whilst he was filming The Avengers the first time in New York, he also filmed
Cabin
his
in
own
the-
version of Much Ado About Nothing by
really?
Shakespeare, set in modern day New York, starring pretty much the cast of Firefly. Really.
Oh.
But yeah.
Well, I know on the writer's strike he wrote, the Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, which is
Yeah.
really cool. And obviously he did Cabin in the Woods because he found the Avengers.
Oh, Cabin in the Woods is cool.
Avengers was so stressful and so much money that he just wanted to do a film that was fun. And Cabin in the Woods was the result of that, which is awesome.
It is a great movie.
Anyone got anything else before we go on to competition time?
I find it weird that you guys like watching trailers.
I don't.
Oh, I love trailers. I'm all over trailers.
I hate
For
trailers.
movies that I'm excited about, yeah.
If I'm excited about a
which
movie,
is-
that's so much reason not to watch a
Yeah,
trailer.
especially these days, trailers will.
I watch
ruin the
any
film.
trailer. Like,
Yeah.
There's a trailer recently that I sent to James called Whiplash. It was like about a drummer, and it stars J.K. Simmons, and it is so exciting.
Oh, I saw that trailer.
I'm
that
really
movie
excited
looks
for it.
horrible.
It looks
I know,
great.
it looks brilliant.
If I go to the cinema and watch a film and I've seen a trailer that's already spoiled a really good scene, that scene is basically ruined for me. What's the point in watching it if I've already seen
The worst
punchline?
when you pay to see a film, and then beforehand there'll be some stupid like orange sneak preview of the film
Yeah.
you're about to watch. I'm like,
M&M's
why
on the
are
red
you-
carpet.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, why are you showing me all the best bits from Pirates of the Caribbean 4? I'm just about to watch
That's
it.
what the trailer does, Jack.
They're
You're just
punishing you for
talking
going
about
to
how
see
bad
the-
No,
trailers
but
are.
okay, but like, although I've got to admit, I recently went to go see that new Denzel Washington film, and I knew nothing about the film. I just went in and watched it, and I got to admit, it was really refreshing to watch a film where I had no idea what it was going to be about.
And that's what I'm like with all the best films that get released
Yeah, but
all
you
year.
must be watching all films then.
No, I'm saying films like Avengers, I don't even watch the trailers, whereas everyone's like, oh yeah, I remember this part from the trailer. I go in like, this is incredible. Right now, I'm experiencing it for the first
Would
time.
you like it if the trailer had absolutely nothing from the film? It was more like they filmed the trailer completely unique.
No,
of the
I just
film?
don't watch the trailers. I don't need them. Because if I know I'm going to watch it, I'm just going to go and watch it. I
You
go
know what
like,
they should do is just have the trailer where the guy comes out and goes, all right, okay, there's going to be 4 superheroes in it. It's going to be a big ship. It's going to be awesome.
the trailer should
And-
just be this is what
June
all your
22nd.
most respected critics have said about it. It's incredible. 98% go watch it. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
That would definitely work on me if the trailer just literally went doof, 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 and just showed critic reviews and then just ended on the title of the film. I'd probably go see it based on that.
A lot of trailers do actually do that, and they have the star reviews
Yeah,
for each
but
of the
then-
magazines. No, the thing is,
Yeah.
you've got to look at which magazines have given them those
Daily
scores.
Mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the Daily Mail or the Sun or Nuts or Zoo have given or Heat have given it 5 stars,
Yeah.
probably not going to go see it.
There was one, I think it was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film poster. Like the slogan was like, best family film in decades from like Tim.com's news. And it was like, what the hell? Whose website is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever I see ain'titcool.com, I'm like, nah, get away from me. I
Yeah.
don't know who you are.
Also, don't go to SeaWorld.
It's really not that good, actually. I went to the one in Florida. It's not great.
Should we do the
It's pretty
competition?
boring.
Yeah, let's roll into the competition.
Don't go to SeaWorld.
Paul Monahan giveaway.
The Paul Monahan giveaway.
Ba-ba-da-ba.
Yeah.
Well, I keep avoiding saying last week, but this time it was last week. Last week we were giving away Skyrim and Risen. We got a lot of entries, and the winner is... Jack's very excited about the winner. The winner is Xavier, or at Zara Hoods. Xarahuddes. Zara Hoods.
Sorry, Hoods.
So,
Cool.
yeah. He or she has won.
That's probably a character from a game or a film we've not seen.
Quite potentially. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The name is Xavier, but I'm not sure. So he or she has won Skyrim and Risen. Dude or Dudette will be contacting you on Twitter with your codes. And next time, we're giving away Wrecked.
Sweet.
Very good card game. Play it with your friends. It's on PC, so you have to get some extra
Or
controllers.
play it by yourself.
Or play it by yourself.
Like I did.
Yeah, and great. We've enjoyed that a lot, haven't we?
Yeah, we had great fun.
And The Novelist, which I believe you're familiar with, Jack.
Yep, worked on it. Tested it. Good
Yeah,
old- my friend Dan Harmon built it. Really
You
good.
can find some bugs in a game that our very own Jack.
No, that
Martial arts.
I QA'd that to death. Like that's clean as a whistle.
So when you do find the bugs,
That was
Give us
actually
a
the
call.
game. That is a good game, actually. Novelist. People should play that. Honestly, it's a
was
really
was
good
this
game.
the creepy one?
This is the
pervy
one where you're a ghost in a house.
That is the
and
creepy
you're
one,
watching
yeah.
a family's life unfold, and you get to impact on their decisions.
What did you say about Dan Harmon?
Wait,
it
what-
Dan
his
Harmon
name,
from
his
Community?
name wasn't Dan Harmon. Dan Teasdale. I'll have to remember his
Oh,
name
okay.
now.
Was
It's a
it
bit
nice?
embarrassing. Really nice guys though, but yeah,
not that memorable.
Forgot his name. Yeah.
So you can have a game that's somewhat serious and a game that's really not serious at all.
Yeah.
And
Novelist is really good. You should definitely.
because it's got a
enter this.
ghost in it. And get it? Because I was the other way
Yeah,
around.
we get it.
So if you want to win those, you can look on Twitter at Retrograde Show. We're going to put the details on there. You can retweet those, and you will be in it to win it. Obviously, winners announced in 2 weeks' time.
Awesome. Make sure you do that at Retrograde Show, or one word. Yes, we're going to be talking about Comix Zone. So before we do, let's have a brief blurb on the game from our regular voiceover that's coming in all the time. It's brilliant. Still Fox.
Hello and welcome to Retrograde. In this episode, the Retrograde team are going to do Comix Zone. But before I tell you about that, I need to tell you about my friend, the Green Troll Face. Well, the Green Troll Face has only 14 subscribers, and so he's fairly new to the YouTube, and he only started out a month ago. But he usually posts up daily, if not 4 videos a day like he did 2 days ago. So if you like anything from the Goat Simulator MMO to Happy Wheels, Minecraft to Five Nights at Freddy's, I would suggest you check it out. Anyway, well now on to the Retrograde Comix Zone. Well, Comix Zone is a 1995 arcade-style action game. The game's unique feature is that it's set within the panels of a comic book, which I'm pretty sure Superman on the Commodore 64 did that. Maybe the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game did that. I'm not 100% sure. In the game, you play a sketch turner, a starving artist, and a freelance rock musician living in New York City. Sketch is working on his new comic book, The Comix Zone. One night, while Sketch was working on the Comix Zone, during a thunderstorm, a lightning bolt strikes the panel of a comet. At that instant, the main villain of Comix Zone, a powerful mutant called Moltres, manages to escape the world of the comic book pages somehow. Yeah, it's a video. Who cares? Desiring to kill Sketch so he can become flesh and blood in the real world because he does not possess any powers in reality. Sketch sends Moltres sends Sketch into a world of his own comics, freely drawing enemies and attempting to kill him. Comix Zone was criticized to being too late and being too hard and too short. But it was positively received and praised for its gameplay, graphics, and soundtrack. By the time the game came out, the PlayStation, Sega Saturn were already released, meaning only a few gamers heard about it and still fewer purchased it. However, based on the game's merit, the game received cult status. Anyway, goodbye, good night, Steel Fox is out.
Oh, that was a treat to the ears. Thanks for that, everyone. And this is now a good time to remember that Retrograde Show and all our other sister podcasts on the Psychon Network are sponsored by Tweet Audio. So if you're thinking about buying some new headphones, head over to tweetaudio.com, or one word, despite that big pause I put in the middle, where they've got all shapes and sizes of headphones. And if
all
you use,
shapes and sizes.
every week I say that, and you guys go, I bet they don't have all shapes and sizes. Okay, they have a limited set of shapes and
headphones
sizes.
shaped like a house?
And if you use the promo code Retrograde when purchasing, you'll get 33% off, free shipping, house size, and a lifetime warranty on your headphones.
House sized?
So check out tweetaudio.com.
That's a very good deal. That would cost millions to
You have
produce.
to get a shed to keep them in.
All right, let's talk
Shed
about.
as big as a house.
Let's
Yeah.
talk Comix
A barn,
Zone.
one might call it.
Or at least the headphone case as big as a house.
Oh, you guys are so funny. Let's talk Comix Zone because we had a fan suggest this. So I don't know about you guys. I've never played this before.
No, I hadn't either. Unsurprisingly.
I know it was Anthony's game, but so first impression, what actually struck out? It's a weird question to ask, but what jumped out straight away when you first played this game?
We did have a fan suggest it. I don't want to take any credit, but I was considering this already because it was from my childhood as well.
Forget the fan then.
No, don't forget the fan, obviously. I mean,
What's the fan's name, guys?
Oh, shit, I didn't look it up.
We'd forget as soon as we found out.
I'm so sorry, fan. I'll find out you are and put you in the show notes.
he'll guess you that. You'll feel double betrayed. Don't worry, this time I'll be nice. No, he's not going to be.
I always double betray. That's my favourite kind of betrayal.
Well, I only played it briefly when I was younger, and it always stuck out to me because there isn't really another game like it. I mean, you get superhero games like Spider-Man. What was the Spider-Man game on the Mega Drive?
Spider-Man.
Oh, the Spider-Man, yeah.
There was one that had like a very similar art style and felt very comic-like, which is not surprising since it was based on a comic. But this is like the only game I've ever seen that's really comic. Does that make sense? This is the only game I've seen that's really based on a comic format.
What about 13 on the Xbox?
Well, that was like cel-shaded. I suppose you're right, yeah.
It doesn't work as well in 3D.
No, as a first-person game, is obviously harder to get across in the...
First thing that struck me about this game when I played it was the fact that it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up, but it's not like Double Dragon or anything like that, where there's not that extra Z-axis where you can walk up and down. You are literally... it is a side-scrolling game, which I think straight away kind of ruined it a little bit for me because it takes away a bit of complexity because all you can do is stand there and punch, kick, punch, jump, and that's it. So I was a little bit disappointed by that. I know, but that's how it would work. I know what you mean. But then compared to like a game like games of years before, there's like Cadillacs versus Dinosaurs, something like that, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. That extra ability to walk up and down just gives so much more to a beat 'em up.
But the thing is, I mean, because of obviously it's modelled on the comic book, you don't need the Z-axis going on because you break through the panels, which in itself is quite exciting. And you go down into panels and you go across, and there's all the secrets to find and things like that. So I didn't rue the loss of a Z-axis.
That's still on the X and Y axis, though. It's not like it does take away an aspect of the gameplay.
I know what it sounds like.
It's more interesting. It's more creative
it
than
gives
just
a lot.
Another beat 'em up.
It does give a lot more, I must admit. I mean, I did like all the panel stuff, and I like the fact you can jump between and multiple choices. There's even a couple of puzzles thrown in and stuff. So it was definitely. It felt a lot like an arcade game to me. This is something you would have in a short blast. Put 50p in.
Because you mentioned the combat, I really want to say I enjoy the feel of the combat. It's very visceral, and the animation is fantastic. The fact that they turn white when you hit them, gives that nice. I don't want to call it like flashy effect. It feels nice.
Strafing.
I was going to say it feels nice when you beat.
Is that haptic feedback?
I don't think so.
Sort of.
I think it's just a nice like visual effect, but it also ties in quite well to the fact that they're drawn in the first place. It's almost like you're damaging them and they're becoming sketches again. But I was going to say I like the feel of beating people up in this game, but that sounds a bit dodgy on my part.
Felt meaty.
No, I know it's a beat 'em up. The whole point, and if it doesn't feel satisfying to beat someone up,
Beating people up feels good to me.
In this game.
In this game,
It felt chunky to beat people up. It felt meaty.
Yeah. And that's because some games. I mean, especially in first-person shooters, you get weak-feeling guns. And
A lot of it
don't
for
like
me was the way the screen would wobble when you did it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of that like visceral feedback.
Yeah, so it definitely felt like you were like, whoa, I feel like I'm punching a tank. It's awesome.
But in some beat 'em ups, you play it and you don't get that feeling of that heaviness, that chunky, meaty feeling. So I really enjoyed that, and I'm surprised they put that much effort into this when obviously they had the gimmick to focus on. Although I will say they seem to focus on that gimmick above all else.
Yeah, it feels it's a weird thing to say, but it feels very set piece. The game, because of all the different panels, it's definitely feel like it's not like Mario where there's kind of you have a lot of more sort of like freedom in your movements and jumping around. This was very kind of just like set piece to set piece to set piece. It is also very much like I found the game very difficult, but only because I realised you had to kind of learn bits. Like there's one bit where I fell down a hole and you land on a bunch of barrels that are on fire, and it's like, well, I'm never ever going to make that mistake again because now I know I have to push the box down first.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like Mario where you use skill. This game was a lot of learning in this game.
Which is good, because beat 'em
Bad.
ups...
It's not the end of the world.
Well,
yeah.
no, beat 'em ups I get bored with after a while, because... here's some more enemies, I'll beat them up. Here's some more enemies, I'll beat them up. Okay, and I'll move along a bit, and I'll beat some more people up, and I'll just keep beating them up. And
A lot of games are like that.
But this, it did have that extra element to it. The slight puzzle element, like you said before, which made it a lot more engaging. And made me play it longer.
It sort of reminds me, when you say it's set piece, like games like Time Crisis.
Yeah.
Just because you in those games, you essentially move from section to section, and each section is a new scene, if you will. It's not really tied to the section before it.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you just stay in there until you've beaten that, and there are things to learn about those scenes, and then you go back. But that whole concept is tied into arcade games, and I'm almost certain this game wasn't released in the arcades, even though it has the hallmarks of one.
Yeah.
Like the short length and the extreme difficulty, and having to learn how the game works to be able to beat it in full. That
Yeah.
sort of thing. Like, there is room for error, but there's not room for error if you want to complete the game first time through. Whereas games these days, are often criticised for being too long and too easy. Whereas this is almost the opposite. It's too short and too hard.
This was criticised by reviewers for being, both short and hard. So, yeah, makes sense.
Phrasing.
Yeah. What about the story? I actually quite liked it. It's a very cool game overall. Like, if I was a kid when I got this back in 96, I'd have been like, man, this is awesome. 95.
I think that's why it struck me so much. It stood out when I was young, and then it stuck in my memory forever. Because I was mentioning this podcast to someone I work with, and they said, wait, is that the game where you're in like a comic panel? And he knew the game because he played it very briefly when he was young, just like I had. But he didn't know the name, and it just stuck in his memory, I think, because it's so...
Comix Zone is a terrible name for a game. It's not even spelt right.
I was really
Comix
apprehensive.
Zone, isn't it?
I was really apprehensive.
No, honestly, when you said that we were doing this game, I was like, oh, it's going to be another, you guys know. But it wasn't actually. It's really distinctive. It's like I was very surprised that I'd never heard of it because it is so. I think it's a very interesting game, and I'm also surprised. Do you know who developed it?
I can find out for you.
You mentioned the story, so I think that's worth discussing. You said you liked it, but I find the whole concept a little absurd just because he's a comic book artist who got sucked into his own comic by the villain of that comic.
Hold on. I don't think
what are you about? It's beautifully meta.
I don't think it's an incredible story, but I think I'm comparing it to the games of the time. Things like, I don't know, other games that are around on the NES at the time. I thought this was a very good story. It had enough character. Like the characters had a lot of personality for what they were. Compared to, I don't know, Lost Vikings. I know, that's a good story.
Lost Vikings is a great story.
No, my point was going to be that it's absurd simply because a comic book artist shouldn't be this good at beating people up. He should be a bit, nerdy.
No, but
he's been transformed into a character.
Yeah, he's drawn himself as that character.
This was
I think he was just pulled into it. He didn't draw himself as that because he wasn't in the comic originally.
This was developed by Sega's in-house teams, Sega Technical Institute.
Wow.
I saw that when I loaded it up, and I've never seen that logo before or since.
The Sega does that mean their initials are STI?
I'm surprised that the Sega Technical Institute was given the green light on this one because it's quite a departure.
Well, I've never seen that developer.
This fits well with the whole Sega we do what Nintendo don't sort of style. It's a cool game. He swears in it, and he's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, no, that stuff makes sense. It's just the actual
very
conceit
Sega
of the comic book itself. Like
I think
it's different. It's quite a.
I think we should look up what other games STI has done because that's not the normal Sega development house.
Well, I will have a look for
So
you.
it could be that they made this one game, then was shut down immediately because it was crap. I don't know.
Maybe.
Was this their answer to Street Fighter?
I doubt it.
Oh, well, so the STI team basically became Sonic Team.
Oh.
No, this was after Sonic, surely.
Yeah. But, the Sega STI...
But Sonic Team wasn't making...
Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, they went on to Sega Saturn, they gone like Nights into Dreams, Burning Rangers, things like that. Don't get me wrong, it's probably a massive team, and maybe there were different studios underneath
and
just one
obviously Sonic
name.
1 and Sonic 2 and so on didn't have the STI logo.
No, but that's developer STI, that's what it says. Sega Technical Institute.
I think conceptually it's a really good idea, and the way the mechanics
it's a fantastic
work
idea.
are really nice. I personally really love all the speech bubbles and the thought bubbles.
Yeah.
Because that makes it so comic book in style.
It
and
also-
it's it's just really, really nice.
It makes the text more interactive. Like, I'm more interested in reading what a character has to say if it's presented in the way of a comic book, because we're kind of conditioned to find that a bit more interesting than just reading like straight up prose.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, rather than having subtitles running along the bottom.
Gives a lot of character to the actual character as well.
Yeah.
Like, I love there's one panel when he goes, "Oh, I'm glad that panel's over," and it's weird because it was actually it was a
Breaking
really
the fourth
boring
wall.
bit where you're like beating up 4 enemies in a row, and it's like, glad that's over, and he says the same thing, which is weird because it's like a developer admitting that bit
The
was
game
boring.
is really making you feel what the characters feel. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was saying the only reason I find it absurd is just because you wouldn't expect a comic book author to be this badass. And he's got the cool mohawk.
I like that you're still on this. You've
I
been
know.
ruminating over it.
Well, 'cause you
What,
guys
This is
don't-
bothering
Hold
you.
on, so what you would have rather if the comic book guys had gone in and go, "Oh my god,
He's a
where am
massive
I?
nerd.
No, I mean,
Someone draw me
That's
out
not
of
the
this."
character
Maybe-
you play in the game is not the comic book artist. Okay, it's the character
'cause
based
I
on
didn't
it.
see
think
him.
it was.
You-
Yeah,
no,
it's
you-
based on it.
yeah, it is. No, you see him drawing, and he's got like a rat on his shoulder, and he's drawing that. That's
How do
his
you know?
rat.
How do you know the real comic book artist isn't drawing the comic book artist, drawing the comic book artist?
Oh, it's Inception stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
This game goes deep.
It does. That's what's good about it.
It would have been. It was like a game that did something very similar, but obviously didn't have the comic book format. Was Beautiful Joe. Because he goes into a movie realm, not comic book realm, but it's a comic book character essentially because it's a superhero. And in that, he gets taken in there and then given the superpowers to fight. So a good idea for this, I think, would have been if he was like an average guy that sucked in there, sucked in, and then he was turned into a badass in the comic by the woman at the start. Maybe like drink
I don't
this.
think it requires it. It translates well enough. You understand that, like, what people can be taken into comic books in the first place, man. It's like, should they have invented some scientific device that would make that possible?
No, that was okay because his villain did it. Villains are masterminds; they
Oh,
can
that's
figure
true.
that out. But his villain wouldn't have made him into a superhero.
I like the villain came out and was like, rather than just run off and enjoy being free, he was like, "I'm going to draw enemies to kill you." It's like, no, just bugger off and go have a free time.
And even then, that was a that's a fun mechanic as well.
could be
Because you kill
friends.
an enemy, and then suddenly the hand appears and draws
and
the
he could
enemy
have just
back
drawn.
again.
He could have just drawn like a bomb. Like, why is he drawing like? I'll
That
just
wouldn't
draw
have been
a
as fun,
real.
Jack.
I'll draw a real fine goo monster. It's like,
I think he wants to put him
draw
through,
a
like,
massive
torture.
bomb.
You could draw the character dead.
It's like a Bond. It's like a Bond villain. You don't want to just kill him outright.
I
with
would
a
have
gun.
got deep and drawn the character's mum with a speech bubble going saying, "You're a disappointment." Things
Oh,
So you're evil.
that's
You're-
low, Jack.
That's pure evil.
See, this is why you do QA, is
What's
because you
the,
look at how to
yeah.
break games.
What's off-topic question? What's the best ever media where a character goes into another media? For example, like a film where a character goes into
Last
a
Action
book,
Hero.
or
Electric
a film
Dreams.
where a film where a character goes into a game.
Last
or
Action Hero, no doubt.
Oh no! So there was a surprise one at the end.
Page Master was pretty good. Remember
You
that
guys
one?
are all
of
wrong, by the way.
Disclosure.
That's wrong.
Disclosure's good, yeah.
I've seen Disclosure.
Reboot, remember that
No,
one?
that's wrong
That
as
was
well.
good. Goes into a game. That was good.
That's wrong.
Lawnmower
I
Man.
was joking,
No,
by
that's
the way.
wrong.
The ending with Disclosure is awful.
James, what's yours?
You guys are
Was
all
that a
wrong.
sexy one?
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
James's?
You guys are all
What's
wrong.
James's one?
Tron.
Tron is a good answer. Yeah, he goes into the game, didn't he? There's quite a lot where the characters go into a game. I guess it's quite a cool
Oh, the
concept.
community episode, we all go into a game.
If you were
that
going to
was
go
good.
into one kind of media, which one would you like the best?
You wouldn't want to go into a book, would you? 'Cause you'd be like,
Right. You'd have the most.
I'm an A.
Like Flat Stanley. You just get squished.
Jump, go. Just crack.
I'd go in a video game. I'd be quite happy living in the
Wasn't there a
Mushroom
film
Kingdom, I
You'd
think.
probably. You know
Wasn't
what? You'd
there-
have to kill people every day. You have to jump about, jump.
No,
on the
no,
gimbal.
I would be a
Wasn't there a
princess.
film?
Zan's the one that gets stolen.
So you get
Yeah,
kidnapped and you
yeah.
live in the dinosaur's dungeon.
Yeah.
She'd be like, I know you have a heart of gold, really, Bowser. Let me go.
And he wouldn't.
Wasn't there
She
a
doesn't
film
know.
where a character is writing in a book and he's writing what's happening in his life?
Yeah, it's called Adaptation.
Also, oh yeah, there's also that what was it? It had
With
Will
Nicolas
Ferrell
Cage.
in it.
Stranger Than Fiction, you're thinking of?
Yeah, Stranger
Stranger
Than
Than
Fiction.
Fiction.
Oh, yeah, and he's got to
That's
find
the
a woman
one.
who's narrating his life.
And
yeah.
it has Emma Thompson in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her.
I think that's the
Me
one
too.
I was thinking of. Not Adaptation. I can't remember what that's about.
So yeah, we've got a game that goes into a comic book.
You mentioned the villain in this,
Uh-huh.
and that just reminded me, I quite enjoyed when you die and the villain crosses you out in the comic book. It goes and shows you a scene where the villain wins.
Mortis.
So instead of just saying game over, it goes and shows you the villain being like, yes, now my plan will finally come
Yeah.
to fruition. And then like he's standing out on the balcony with the lightning and stuff.
My favourite one of that is always Banjo-Kazooie, where when you lose, you get to see the witch turn into a really hot woman, and your sister turns into a really big ugly ogre. But it's quite worth it to see the witch become hot. So, not so bad. Trade-off was alright.
I've done worse things to see a hot witch.
What about music? Because that was a massive selling point of the game when
was
it first
good.
came out.
I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
the Wikipedia article mentioned they brought in that composer and everything, but it seemed a bit standard to me.
It reminded me a lot of Doom. Doom's music was a lot better, but it had that kind of rocky, kind of like Nirvana, grunge, like...
Who was the composer?
That sort of stuff. The composer was a guy called Howard Drossin.
Does not ring a bell.
He did the score for... He went on to do movie soundtracks. He did Red Tails, recently came out. The Man with the Iron Fists. Waist Deep, Inside Man, Blade Trinity.
Inside Man was a great film.
In terms of video games, it's Sonic and the Black Knight, Afro Safari, Baldur's Gate 2, Throne of Ball,
Afro Safari,
Die Hard Arcade in '96, Sonic and Knuckles. So yeah, quite a well-respected...
Afro Safari, what is that?
Yeah, that was a good game. We'll do that for an episode. 25th Hour as well.
I almost feel like, I mean, I don't want to get serious here, but I feel like the name Afro Safari implies some really racist stuff.
Wait.
Yeah, actually, it does,
No,
doesn't it?
wait, I said
Unless
that wrong.
you're playing as a headlouse.
No, come on, guys. It was not Afro
Is it
Safari.
Afro Samurai?
It's Afro Samurai.
Oh, Jack. I was just thinking about that for a second.
One of you correct
Afro
me.
Safari.
Afro Safari is what those middle class, not exchange students, gap year students do when they go off to Africa to do aid work.
Nice. That was good. That was good.
Getting off on it.
Pretty sure that's also really racist, James.
What? Well, it's not.
You're implying
the
that
ones
people in
doing
Africa
it.
have afros.
Would it
They're just walking around with afros.
man.
it surprise you if I told you
Where do
that
you think the word Afro comes from? The stem
I'm
word
not.
of Africa.
I'm not saying no one in Africa has an afro, but
Anthony
implying that
doesn't
they
think
go along
that
and just.
anyone in Africa has an afro. Now
a bit
he's being
racist, Anthony.
prove him wrong.
Everyone in Africa.
Okay, let's go to Africa.
They're Retrograde on tour.
That stands for rot.
Next
Good.
week we'll just go, here we are in Africa. I'll just play like a jungle theme in the soundtrack or something.
We've asked around.
I'll start singing.
Just like-
Well, if we weren't racist, we are now.
Yeah. Would it surprise you guys if I told you the game's been ported to quite a lot of different platforms?
Yeah.
Game Boy-
Yes, it was.
Well, I'm
Wow.
glad then, because I eased to I aim to surprise.
East us in, man.
Thank you. It was in the Sonic Mega Collection, the Sega Mega Drive Collection. It was on the Virtual Machine, Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation 3 as well. Went on to PSN. It was on Game Boy Advance. Got a port. Quite a popular game,
Yeah.
which is surprising. It was a little bit of one of the kind of crowns in the Sega flagships up there with like Echo and things like that. It was
Yeah,
there. It was
Did they
like
not do any sequels to it then?
nope, just Comix Zone.
I think
So it's
because
so popular. Why
I think
did
it's
they
probably because SDI went on to do Sonic.
yeah.
It was never so again. I haven't got no truth in this game, so I might as well say this now. It wasn't ever a really popular game. It sold well for Mitsumu magazine, whatever they call, gave it 30 out of 40. It got good reviews, but it came out in '95, which was like quite late. I'm just going to quickly check the exact time. So August '95. So it was after the Saturn and the PS1 had already come out. So a lot of people said it didn't do very well because of the fact that people had moved on to other
too
consoles.
late,
It was too
yeah.
late in the console's lifespan. So
Yeah.
it really was quite a late. And also,
Like Bloomer.
I think this game's very cool and it's really hip and it's like, wow, this is awesome. Then you forget that things like Wipeout and Tomb Raider are already out. People are playing these games. So when you compare it to those, you kind of go, well, yeah, it does seem a little bit like a...
Which
you can
is a
imagine
bit
your mate
childish,
going...
doesn't it?
Yeah, you imagine your mate coming, come play Comix Zone. He's like, sod off, I'm playing Tomb Raider. Look at the boobs on her. Like, it would
These
be...
boobs are 3D, man.
Look at those polygons.
Or as I like to call it, Tom Rider.
It's a shame because if this, I mean, maybe they wouldn't have been able to achieve it at that point, but if this had come out as a launch title for the Mega Drive,
Oh, it'd be massive.
the graphics would have just blown people away. They
I
would
mean,
have
I'm-
put that.
Even now,
full
I
screen.
find it really
Graphics
pretty.
still blow me away.
The
Yeah,
second,
the graphics are still lovely.
I think it's like the second or third level. There's a bit where there's snow, and it's genuinely actually quite pretty. I was actually, this is really nice.
Look how badass he is in that when he's coming out of the comic. Mm-hmm. He's not a comic book author.
Once again, we are watching
bit-
this
bit
on TV
stereotypical.
again.
He's got the shorts and the ripped calves.
I don't understand. So what would you have wanted a comic book artist to have done?
It would have
He
been.
wants him to be a geek like him.
Yeah.
Could you not
And he's
relate?
disappointed
could you-
because he's not a beefcake.
It's just none of the comic book artists I've ever seen, in real life or on the TV or on the internet have been, complete badasses who could take anyone out.
I've got a bone to pick with this game. Actually, that I hate. I don't know what it is with TV shows and things like this, or anything like. Whenever you have a hand come on screen that's drawing with a pen, it looks like it's just got this weird mangled angle of holding the pen, where it's like. It looks awful. If anyone plays this game, just watch the hand when it comes in. It's like it's like a claw. And it's like no one holds a pen like that.
Have you tried drawing a hand holding a pen? It is really hard.
Well, I guess you're drawing it, looking at your own one, aren't you?
It shouldn't be that hard,
Exactly.
yeah, because
It
you've got a
No, but
perfect
it is
representation
hard.
right in front of you.
So there he is. There he is. We're looking at the game on screen. Yeah, he is just a normal dude in real life.
He's
with
not a
rat
normal
on his
dude in real
shoulder.
life. He's got the haircut. He's got the leather jacket.
Do you reckon
He's got the
reckon,
ripped arms.
He's
Do you reckon
got
he went-
ripped arms because it's a beat 'em up. If he was a nerd beating up all these people, you'd be like, well, this is ridiculous. This nerd could never beat up these people.
And
Do you
that would have
reckon
been
he,
more interesting to me.
Do you reckon he went back, he, like carried on comic book drawing? Because if I found out that what I draw on my comic books come to life,
You probably drew lots of naked ladies, yeah.
I draw lots of naked ladies.
And then like begged, and then drew in the same villain again. Yeah, do it again. Oh no! Now I have to sex my way through this comic. It's 84 pages.
Front and back.
I was going to make that joke, then I realised that all comic pages are front and back until when they're printed. I mean, when you're drawing them, obviously. The fact that in the ending scene, part of the scene's unfinished, that was a really good idea on behalf of whoever came up with that.
Spoilers.
Well, yeah, but it's like a 30-minute long game, so spoilers don't really count.
Yeah, it's true. Are any of you guys into comic books? I mean, I should mention
I've
now
tried
that
to be.
on the Psycho Network we have got the Comic Book Heroes podcast. So if you guys are into comic books, go listen to them. But whatever. But or whatever. But any of you guys into comic books?
I subscribe to the Bob's Burgers comics.
Oh, really?
So I get
That's
those,
cool.
yeah. Those are in the toilet library.
I've read The Watchmen because that was always said has been like
I've
the
got V
greatest.
for Vendetta as well, which I've flicked through but haven't read.
I like reading The Walking Dead. That's good.
Yeah, I've read The Walking Dead as well.
I read
Comics.
webcomics more
The
often than...
Comixology, I want to say, app on iPad is probably one of the best sort of like, I don't know what the words is, but like advancements of a media I've ever seen. Like the way it treats, because what it'll do, you can click a button, it'll like play to the panels and it'll move around like you're watching like an interactive comic book basically, and it is fantastic.
I've used that on, just because they have a website as well.
Yeah.
I've used it for some of the Transformers comics. They sort of did some reboots that I was really interested in the art of.
And it's like, I won't lie, because I got it on Android. Sorry, did you finish your point? Sorry.
No, that was it.
And I won't lie, because I've like, you can get like the knockoff version, which is like comic, and then you could download. And it's the first time I've ever seen like it's so much better to pay the actual full price for the comic and get this interactive panel work they've done, because it makes it so much more of a fun experience to read. I know probably comic book snobs will be like, no, it has to be like all on one page. I'm like, no, it's so much more fun when it flows.
Yeah, I know.
Completely off topic, sorry.
No, I mean, they've done really well with it, because usually when people try and take from one media to another, you saw it a lot with ebooks. They just wouldn't put a lot of effort into making the ebook. They just sort of scanned it in, and there'd be missing characters and whatnot. So the effort they've put in is pretty impressive.
The relation it's funny as well that we can't think of many more games that have like comic book based, because the relationship between comic books and games is very, very strong.
Marvel vs. Capcom?
Yeah, I guess so. And it's funny, I'd have to think about how many, because there's quite a lot of games that have become comic books, a lot of comic books that have normally become films and then become games.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
Like
those characters you see in things like Marvel vs. Capcom, they've got a lot more than just comic books going for them, like other video games and films and
I guess
TV shows.
I guess it's because I would assume, I don't know much about the comic book industry, but I guess the investment going into a comic book is not as high a risk as a game or a film. It doesn't take as much. You still get comic books that are drawn and coloured and inked by one like for free.
Yeah,
people.
if you go to we've been to
comic book trade
Comic-Con
shows and stuff. Yeah,
and you go there. There's a lot of independent artists just doing their thing. And obviously, I read a lot of webcomics, and those people are doing great art, but they're just doing it for free on the internet.
well, we have a comic book shop here in Brighton, and I don't know if it seems like a
We've got
very
more-
good
I think
one.
we've got more than one, Jack.
No, we've got Dave's Comics. I was going to mention
Dave's
because
Comics
that
is the
seems
main one.
Yeah, that seems like been the main one, and it is like you go in, it feels like an industry that's doing really well. Because there's so many like
It can be though, can it?
obscure, even very like niche books. Like I saw one the other day that was called like the Giant Killer Beard or something. You get these very kind of like art house
Yeah, but that's
comic
Brighton,
books
isn't
now.
it? I
Wait,
mean,
is
we
the
have
new issue
shops dedicated to like selling
Vegetarian shoes.
vegetarian shoes,
Yeah,
for
that's true.
example.
It's always
They're
it's
really
always
disgusting,
been
by the way.
Yeah, don't eat them.
back in the day. I tried to get into comic books to like. Because I'm still on the fence. My opposing argument for comic books is that it's too hard to get involved in them. Like if I'm like, wow, I really like Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm gonna go buy the comic books. There's like, wait, how many storylines are there? This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
how am I
if you-
ever going to get involved in this?
If you try and get into it, it's pretty difficult, because you basically have to find... If you haven't read it at all, you basically have to find a reboot they've made recently, so you can start the story over. Otherwise, you go back into the 60s and read the old art.
Well, I think they did. I want to say that DC or Marvel have done the new 51. Anyone know about that before I start talking about it and sound like an idiot?
51?
They've relaunched like all of their characters in the universe, and they've called it something like the 51 because 51 of them have all started again from zero. Anyone who's into this now as a comic book fan is probably shaking their head and going, "Oh my god, he's such an idiot."
Well, that's a good way to get everyone
Tweet us and
interested.
let us know how
let us
wrong
know.
Jack is.
Or I'll just listen to the Comic Book Heroes podcast because I could probably learn quite a lot on that. Anyway, carry on talking about this. Oh, go
Yeah,
on.
no, I was going to say about this game.
Yeah, Comic Zone.
I was going to say, I really think the graphics are fantastic. They're very standout. The music's not bad. The beat 'em up mechanics in general, just how the fighting feels, very solid. the concept is great, but there are things I wish the game would have done that would have made it, I think, one of the greatest games of all time. And I know that everyone has opinions about this sort of thing. It's like, if they just done this, then... It's like football fans, they sit in the crowd and go,
If only you kicked it in the goal.
Yeah. Kick it in the goal
You guys
instead.
really need to come to the football with me one day, and you'll actually learn what it is.
Soccer. Go on, Anthony.
Oh, you're getting a slap later.
Come on, sports.
Slap them on air, I want to hear
Come on,
it.
soccer, score us a goal.
That was good. I was thinking, if they had made this game into a proper comic book, so they basically... It wasn't just a villain trying to torture his creator, which is actually a pretty good concept, but where they had a full story and you're going into each panel and it's playing out and you're taking part in it. Obviously, most of the panels will be fighting things, but with a story going on as well, lots of dialogue, that sort of thing. Because right now, most of the dialogue is basically... not placeholder, but it's in there just to give some flavour.
Yeah.
So maybe you're there kind of helping the main superhero.
Yeah, like you're
kind of
teaming up
thing.
with people and then someone else
Yeah.
comes along. So if they've made it into basically a moving comic book that you're taking part in as you go, with the same, you're jumping through the panels just the same, and made it longer and easier, I think it would have been such a good title just because the concept is fantastic and they haven't really delivered on it. It's a bit simple.
It almost sounds a little bit, maybe I'm going to be off, you're describing almost that game. What was the one that was on the, very popular, it's on the Wii and the Wii U and the Game Boy, where you would type in something.
Scribblenauts.
Scribblenauts. It's almost like you're saying that almost, but what, you're drawing the comic book as you go rather than
No,
typing in
I mean, the
words?
story's set and you're just taking part in it. It's like any
I see.
platformer where a story happens, but this is comic book based, so...
I've always loved to see a game, and even I saw this idea for a film, which will be fantastic, and I'd love to see a game where, like, a film where it's like a comedy where you're seeing the life of an actor who lives in the world, like just a regular guy who lives in the world of superheroes. And he's just, who lives in Gotham City, but he has nothing to do with superheroes. He's just a guy who's trying to do his job every day, but like superheroes keep lobbing cars through his windows and things like that. And he just wants to meet a girl on a date, and every time he does, Dr. Octopus turns up and tries to kill everyone or something. I'd love to see that in a video game where
would be hilarious.
you're not the hero, you're not the villain, you're just a person, bystander, who's trying to dodge all this gunfire, going, what the bloody hell's going on here? Just stuff like that. I don't know, I'd love to see just
we could
like
call
a regular
the
guy.
We'll write a script. We'll call it Just Jack.
Just Jack.
And it's just Jack
It's
going
me.
about his daily
Yeah,
business.
it's me
trying to
in-
fall in love, and all these superheroes keep
Yes.
turning up. And oh no, I'm so sorry I was late. Spider-Man held up my train, literally. Not even exaggerating.
the mission would be that I've got to get to the supermarket and buy like some cauliflower.
Before it closes, because you can't make cauliflower cheese for dinner.
Yeah, because I've got to make cauliflower cheese to impress a date.
And you're really excited about that cauliflower cheese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I can't get there because there's a Project Gotham racing race going on in the middle of my city, and
Yeah.
the cars are crashing into walls. Burnouts going
Gridlocked.
on. Burnouts happening in my city. There are takedowns going on, and I'm
it's
just
no
trying to get
longer-
to the shop.
It's no longer superheroes, it's just all games getting in the way of your life.
Just be like, I'm trying to get to the shop, but there's a Smash Brothers tournament
It's
going
funny
on.
because in a very different way, one might say that games are getting in the way of your life, Jack.
Oh,
But-
now that's ironic.
That's a conversation.
I'm just trying to think what would be the most fun games to play a third person in. Just being like, what the bloody hell's going on here then? There's
One
not many.
of the toads in Mario would be interesting, because they're in the Mushroom Kingdom. Princess get kidnapped. All they do is run around and panic until Mario brings her back.
Grand Theft Auto would be a good game where you're just playing a third person.
Oh my god, you pick the one where it's literally just the exact same as your regular life.
Yeah, but there's no.
What, so you're just someone who lives a normal life in the city?
Yeah.
Are you saying that you'd like to live in a world in which you've moved to San Andreas?
No, I can't explain it. Like, I want to be like in Assassin's Creed, and I'm just in my house, and there's a guy who keeps climbing up my windows and stuff. I'm like, get off my bloody windows! You got to keep your windows clean, but assassins keep climbing all over them.
There's something like that. There's a button just for get off my bloody windows, and you keep pressing it.
It's the Y button.
And then it takes the points away if you do it and he's not there outside your windows.
I'll be well up for it. Just a life simulator, but it's got all quick time events and stuff.
Well, you're completely baffling wishes aside. My basic point was that they've chosen such a story-driven medium and then not really put a story in. The first...
Yeah,
disagree.
I
I think they
agree.
put a good story
the
in.
first panel...
The story could have been a lot more complex.
The first panel is pretty much the only one with any character development because you meet a woman and she says, I can't tell you about it right now, and then you get going. So nothing really happens. And the very final panel, everything else is just beating up people with some flavour text.
You go to like a ninja training camp. I guess not much of a
No,
story,
because
though.
none of that. You don't get a reason for any of that. I mean, they mention a tournament, that sort of thing, but you don't know why it's happening or anything.
I like the villain sent your rat in as well.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
like,
I think you got sucked in because it was on your shoulder while you were
and
drawing.
your rat.
But also, I thought because I hadn't played this in a while, when I saw the superhero meter in between levels, I thought, once that fills up, I'm going to turn into that guy.
Yeah.
And you do turn into him when you use the power-up that does the shockwave.
Yep.
What is it? But I thought the second half of the game would be as a superhero, which I was really looking forward to. Then I realised no superhero.
Just like real life.
And that would have made a lot more sense for a comic book that you get in there and eventually turn into a superhero, because it's a comic book and you created it, so why not have superheroes in it?
Luckily, though, the weapons are quite overpowered. Like dynamite. You lob the dynamite and I'm like, bloody hell, get down.
Most of that's just for solving puzzles, though,
But
really.
everything's
Yeah,
made
it's
out of
true.
paper in this world because it's all been drawn.
Well, I didn't notice. There was a weird thing.
Everything turns into confetti when you destroy
Did you
it.
guys do the bit
Yes,
where you could rip paper off the wall and turn it into a flying plane?
I
as
didn't
a
realise
weapon?
until I saw it on a
didn't get that.
Yeah, I
didn't get that
accidentally did that, and I was like, "Oh, but you lose a bit of health." And I hate in games.
I do not like that.
I hate in the old school beat 'em up games where there's a move you can do, but it's so powerful you lose a bit of health doing it.
Yeah, it's
It
just in this, it's ripping
annoys
paper
me.
off the page.
Yeah,
Loses
it was
health.
really like it was the same in Turtles Tournament Time where you can press two buttons together and he'll do like a mega move, but it'll be like you lose a bit of health doing that though. So
you never end up using it.
Never going to do it then, am I?
No, and that's why partly what makes this game so difficult, because health is not just something you lose when people hit you, it's like a resource that you have to spend. And that's not fun.
Yeah, it's true.
Also, the fact that you have to restart from the beginning. I know it's a very short game, but starting from the beginning when you die is very arcade.
That whole mentality of gaming where you start from the start when you don't know, it doesn't exist in modern day gaming because it's just people that go mental.
Yeah.
It does in Dark Souls.
No, that's kind of
you start
true.
from the beginning of
Yeah,
the
that's
area,
kind of true.
everything respawns.
It was like Tomb Raider 2 that we've done last week on last week's show. Go listen, great episode. Like that had to add in like a save point where you could save wherever you want because they used to have crystals and people like just didn't like it. But yes, we should move into the retrograde part of the show. Like I said, I've got no trivia because it's quite hard to find. It's quite an obscure game, so no trivia.
The
But
game is based on the idea that you go into a comic.
Retrograde part of the show. Thanks for that, James. Thanks for joining in the podcast
Oh, that was the
today.
trivia.
Trivia closed.
All right.
That was the trivia.
Yeah. Retrograde part of the show. Anthony, you chose it. How are we grading this?
I was about to say comic book heroes, but then I realised that you use those for the intro jokes, which
We
were
can still do it.
But yeah, I'm feeling a bit raw after that since you called me Lois Lame.
That was
Still
that
funny.
was pretty clever though.
And James got Doctor Strange feeling in your pants, which means he's had a good effect on you, whereas I'm Lois Lame.
I still don't understand whether it's Doctor
Not really.
Strange feeling in your pants or Doctor Strange feeling in your pants.
No, it's Doctor Strange feeling. You've got a Doctor
I'll take
Strange
either,
feeling
but-
in your pants. Like you caused a strange feeling in
Like
Jack's
Doctor
pants.
Strangelove, I think, is what Jack was trying to do a riff on.
No,
it's
Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange.
Oh,
He's a
okay.
comic
There's a
book hero.
character in
Yeah.
Batman.
Okay.
Oh,
It's not
you're such a
Strange
guy
Love.
in the sun. I love saying that.
What's a guy shit?
It means white devil.
Oh,
Or foreign
that's
devil.
really
It means
mean.
foreign devil, I
Well, no,
think.
basically in Japan they call people that if they're like from a foreign country and don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he's not
It's
really
like,
calling you a devil.
it's like outsider.
I see.
Because
Yeah.
you would only want
White
to do
devil,
it.
white devil.
So maybe I'll go for superpowers rather than superheroes because that's a bit more nuanced.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
The ability to draw things that come to life.
That's not a
Like
superhero
Penny
power.
Crayon.
What?
That's not a
Penny
superpower.
Crayon?
Did you watch Penny
guess it is.
Crayon?
No.
She had a
No.
magic. It was a cartoon when we were little. She had a
When
magic
you were little or when
crayon.
I was little?
Oh, shut up. It's only 9 years. Oh, that's huge. There's so much age. Penny Crayon. She had a crayon. When she would draw stuff, then it would come to life.
That was one powerful girl.
Crayon. Yeah,
Crayon.
it was good.
Well,
You just reminded me
times.
of the. It's not related at all, but you just reminded me of the Queen's nose.
Queen's Nose, that's such a great title sequence.
I found a Queen's Nose coin last year. It was it's an old 50p with the hands on.
Did you rub it?
No, I gave it to Neil, and he didn't know.
Oh.
Most of our listeners probably don't, but the Queen's Nose are shows where a character would make a wish while she was rubbing the 50p
No, she was
piece
a
with the
book.
Queen's nose.
It was a book.
was a TV
I
show
watched
as
the
well.
TV
Then
show
it
on
was
the
a
BBC.
TV show.
I never knew it was a book.
It was originally a book.
Uncle Ginger is still my biggest inspiration.
The problem with this TV show, though, is she made the. Well,
She made more than 7 wishes.
she had.
Oh.
I think it was 50 wishes, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, they did that for the TV show.
Yeah.
In the book, it was 7. It was 1 for each hand.
Oh, okay, yeah. On the TV show, it was one for each pence, I guess, because they had to run several seasons.
Exactly.
But she made the worst wishes, like, oh, I dropped
did.
some litter. I wish the litter wasn't dropped anymore. And it's like, you
Yeah.
just wasted one of 50 wishes that you could have anything for. Get
And you
some
can
money.
you could pick the litter up
You think that's
yourself,
bad?
you lazy kid.
Bernard's watch, who had a watch where he could stop time. All he ever
Yeah.
did was get more time to do his homework.
Bernard was.
God, Bernard, go murder some people.
Go murder someone. You don't need to stop trying to murder someone,
You've been
Jack.
playing too much GTA 5, Jack.
Call your enemies,
Right.
Bernard. Call your enemies.
They'll never know it was you.
You could
never
literally save everyone, and you're doing it to save your homework, or like
Big Bernard, save everyone.
I remember an episode where he put muffins in the oven, and he paused time because he didn't want to burn the muffins. And I was like, "Good God, Bernard, this is wasted on you."
I remember, but then the postman would come along and
I can imagine 6-year-old Jack freaking out of Bernard, just getting really angry. They come in and like, Jack, calm down. But he doesn't deserve it!
Put people in inappropriate positions, Bernard.
I remember an episode where
Would that be your superpower then?
Yep, no, go on.
Bernard's friend took the watch, right? And I thought, finally, someone who knows what to do with it. And she used the free time to sew up his pocket. It had gotten a hole in it, but she sewed it up with like really big, like colourful wool, so it was a really bad sewing job as well. Like, if he'd put coins in there, like the 50p piece from Queen's Nose, it would have fallen through. So she was terrible at it as well. I think that whole village that he was a part of, or town, just was not good.
I thought he lived in London.
Like, oh, did he?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, London, it's no good.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah, superpower. So James chose drawing things that come to life. Why did you choose that, James?
It just, I don't know, it came to me.
Do you want to hear my one?
Yeah.
My one is based on also a beloved 90s children's television show called Woof, where a guy could turn into a dog whenever he wanted. Although it wasn't whenever he wanted, he just turned into a dog every so often.
It was random.
He just randomly went, oh, I'm becoming a dog. And he knew because he would scratch his ear, that's when he knew he was becoming a dog. And even better, he would lose all his clothes. So when he turned back into a human, he was naked. And that reason why I picked that ability was because it's like this game. It sounds awesome. Oh my God, you can turn into a dog. That's so cool. You can run around and be a dog all day. But it came with repercussions. Just like this game is not as fun on the surface as it actually is when you get into it. It's a bit repetitive and it's a bit annoying. It can be a little bit annoying. So even though turning into a dog would be fantastic, you would be rich and you'd be on TV shows, but you'd be there going like, turn into a dog then. Is like, I can't. It just happens at random times. It would be rubbish. So it's a little bit like that. It sounds exciting, sounds really promising, but actually in practice is a little bit annoying, and you lose your clothes while you're playing it as well. So why did we? Yeah. So yeah, that'd be my one. The ability to turn into a dog, but not really knowing when.
I choose. Well, I know I said superhero powers, but I'm going to choose the ability to run really fast, like Flash, because this game is really flashy. But like Flash, he's also DC, so it's a bit boring.
And it's over quickly.
Yes, quick. Yeah. So super speed, because it's flashy, but a bit boring and over.
And it makes you feel like a queen when you're playing it.
I don't understand that part.
You do.
I don't.
I can't think of one. I had a really good one for superheroes because I honestly thought that's what you were going to do. But
Queen
obviously
did the
you changed it 'cause
soundtrack
it's going
to
to be too
Flashpoint.
predictable.
You need to just pick a superhero power that would sound awesome, but in practice isn't that great. Like Wolverine claws.
Like drawing stuff that comes
Well-
to life.
Well, actually, Wolverine claws would be alright.
Touching things and turning them to gold. Midas touch.
Or Skittles.
Skittles touch.
Yeah.
Midas skills.
Yeah, I'll give it Skittles touch. There
I'd
we
kill
go.
myself.
You touch it and then here we go. Skittles everywhere. Nightmare.
I'd rather stuff became Skittles and gold.
I don't... Wait, but why was I got to do it again?
I don't know. You suggested it.
I don't know. I'm
Right, if it was going to be superheroes, I was going to say Iron Man because he became a superhero of his own creation, which was like this guy.
So your superpower is intelligence and
Have
wealth.
we forgot...
There we go. Good. Intelligence and wealth. My superpower is intelligence and wealth.
Have we forgot the retrograde part is when you're trying to put a metaphor of what the game is like, not just describing what the game
I
would
did
be if it was a
Iron Man.
superhero, just be like, it's Iron Man
I
because he
think that's
becomes
No, I
powerful.
think it was because
reductive.
that's a really inherent core of the game.
I
is
think
the concept
the
behind it.
retrograde
The
part of
concept
the
is really
show
strong.
is the part in which you say whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah, we are kind of put on the spot when we do this, so
You
it's
just-
not like
Well,
we
there was that
Allows-
famous episode where we had to compare the game to types of pavement. That took us all
That was
creative.
good.
Wait, wasn't that your
Clouds.
idea?
No, I
think
didn't
that was
do. I
your
never
idea.
did pavement. Mine
Clouds was good
brilliant.
actually. I
Those
enjoy
was good.
clouds.
Clouds was good memories. Yeah, Sounds was my favourite.
I like weapons. We did that once.
Sounds
There
was
was
good.
there
We
was-
did
Sounds was a good
sounds.
There was
one.
one episode where we had to describe the game based on what we would see once we came out of a time machine.
no,
it was an
a
alien walking out of a spaceship.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, what the alien would
And
be.
someone chose Morgan Freeman for some reason. Come on, memories. I'll do a highlight one day. Maybe I'll just
We
get
need
all
to-
of the.
Christmas special.
I'll get all of the retrograde.
show.
I'll get all of the retrograde parts of the show and just do those bits. Guys, how would you grade this game? And then just have the game like, hey,
No one would listen to
Hammer.
that episode.
There was one called
Axe.
Wheels. That was a good episode. We just had to base the game on something that's on wheels, which I said
remember
old
that.
people because they have wheels. I thought was clever. Still laugh
Not
at
clever,
that
Jack,
one.
that's
Still
offensive.
chuckle. But there we go. So yeah, so we if it was a superhero power, it would be I forgot what we even said, to be honest.
Stuff.
Turns into a dog, Flash, ability to draw stuff, Iron Man. Make of that what you will.
My superhero power is Iron Man.
The ability to just have Iron Man turn up.
That'd be a great ability,
pretty sweet,
actually.
yeah.
You could chat with him.
Think of all the cheeseburgers
Yeah,
he'd
chat
bring.
with him.
Right, Mr. Junior?
It'd be like that Mr. Meekings, what they called
Meeseeks.
in Rick and Morty. Which, if anyone hasn't seen it, it's a great episode where you press a button on a box, a guy turns up, and his only goal in life is to fulfil the task that you give him, and then he just dies instantly.
Well, he disappears,
Dies.
doesn't die.
He does die.
He does, yeah, I
dies.
guess.
They
but
die.
They don't consider it death because they want it to happen.
Yeah, because they want it to happen, and if they can't fulfil it, they go mental, and it's a brilliant idea. I'd love to see that into a film.
That would be a really weird film like that.
I wouldn't get anything done.
What?
Because I'm just constantly saying to you, go to work for me and do my job for the
Oh, I
day.
thought you meant if the film came out. Like,
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
it
just watch
sounded
the,
like...
I would just watch the film non-stop all the time.
I just had it on repeat.
Oh god.
I kind of really did that for Frozen, though. So, but anyway, yeah, there you go. So thanks for listening. And you can find all information and links regarding this podcast, as well as all our other sister podcasts at scicon.net. So make sure to check it out. That's CSICON.net. We're going to be back in 2 weeks with Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald.
Yeah, we are.
Jesus.
Where we've already done Pokemon.
No, we did. Generation 1. This is Generation 3.
I
Essentially
can't.
the same game though.
I can't
Are these the re-releases?
go on another Pokemon adventure.
Wait,
a bit harsh.
these aren't the re-releases, are they?
No,
These aren't
no.
like the...
The re-releases are out this Friday. Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire.
Getting
my
very
God.
mediocre reviews.
Well, it's just another Pokemon game. It's just a redo
Was-
of these
was
Generation 3 ones.
Emerald's-
Basically, I'm trying to cash in on the publicity.
Emerald
from
and
the
Sapphire, were they the
re-releases.
ones on Game Boy Advance?
Ruby, no, they all were. Ruby and Sapphire were the first two that came out, and then they released Emerald
All right.
as the third one. You know that they always
I'll
do.
take Sapphire. Who wants Ruby?
I'll take Ruby.
Who wants Emerald?
I've already completed Emerald.
Do you mind if I
so-
don't?
All right,
play any
James,
of
you take
them?
Emerald, and
No,
Lazan,
it's
you
okay.
just
I did.
keep
I'll
swimming
play
in your
all of them.
Pokemon games. You play all three of them in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
Pokemon, another
Yeah,
episode.
get
We
my
all remember
game
how
on
famous the Red and Blue
Friday.
episode was, so this will be quite good. And
That
we
was our
did,
second
did we
episode,
do?
wasn't
And
it?
we did Pokemon Stadium too, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was a different
One
type
Pokemon
of
game a year. I think I am limiting myself quite well.
Well,
Wait,
I'm
was-
going to pick Transport Tycoon Deluxe for my next episode. Then
Fine.
I'm gonna pick Silent Hill 3.
Were these games released before 2005?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, they were. Yeah, that's our rule. Yeah, so make sure you play Pokemon Emerald, Sapphire, or Ruby before our next show. And that's a goodbye from me, Jack Marshall. Goodbye from Anthony Hobday.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Zan Fisher.
Bye.
And goodbye from James McFadden.
Don't go to SeaWorld or consume entertainment mindlessly. Or do. I'm not the boss of you.